can eventually just get to Warden Smell, get to Ninja Tab, play the Steel Caps. That name's always
I was going to call you out on that, because I'm an arsehole like that, but there you go.
That's the one. But either way, Backo now is at a point where you are eventually just going to get to a point where if you are not zoned out of XP and gold early, Graves gets very little value.
Indeed, it does, but of course we still have shove, right? Like that's the idea. And potentially there's a world here where you go towards the lethality. Yes, you're not going to have any damage versus Malphite, but at least you can
I thought you said lethality Malphite, and I was very, very questioning that.
Lethality Graves, in case I misspoke.
No. That's what I was saying, right? The other two builds to the Graves kind of nerfed. Lethality Graves is the odd one out.
Yeah, that at least then adds that burst. You can add that with Azai. You can now within the Herald, and of course the players themselves. Hell, I remember Kabashar playing for Ninjas in Pajamas in the EU Challenger scene back in, I want to say 2015. Alex Itch in the mid lane. Like, some of these players have been around and about for a long time. And Reckless, I mean, this guy is one of the EU greats, right? And you're now trying to pull off a comp that needs to blow up that ultimate from Desire, then get on top, then blow them up. And you need to see whether the coordination and the hands are there to be able to do that from Team Phantasma.
And now we've given some expectations, right? Because a lot of this is going to come down to what's going to happen with Desire. On the other side, though, you look at what Karmine Corp can do. They are fairly happy to sit in terms of parking that Desire in one lane, getting to wave clear and just playing defensively around that, and then playing more aggressively around the Xin Zhao visiting Ari's side of the map, or maybe the Graves or something at that point too, because they have, as we said, in terms of the last game, some ability to play around those sidelines. Because that last game we saw the Gnar taking over at that point, and that became very difficult for the other team, which did maybe want to play a bit more brute to deal with that. The question is now, can Phantasma force the groups and by solidifying the sidelines so that never comes about? Late little invade there from Karmine Corp to get a ward down onto the red buff, but it was spotted out by another ward from Team Phantasma. These early jungle warding mind games, 2 games in a row. It's next level. They know, but we know that you know. So we'll see what happens with that, as this is going to happen. Backo's going to just go in and use themselves as a battle ward themselves. However, Graves looking to intercept them in the rift. The trade heavier with the Malphite early on.
I'm aware the warding stone has been removed, but I don't think cosplaying it as the Malphite is the way forwards. Warding rock, I suppose, considering it's Malphite, it's the same kind of deal. If there's a difference between rock and stone, I don't remember it right now. Someone who's a geologist out there might have to defend it. It's Nicolex.
It's not on the red buff. He's not been spotted here. Could actually be going for, well, I mean, because you don't have the red buff, you're not going to have as much level 1 pressure. Looking for the buff to buff, potentially taking away something from 113. And something which, again, we said that we know the coach of Phantasma, and they were saying before this game to us, actually, there are 2 ways that Phantasma could look to play out this game. Either cover the dives and the aggressive plays which Karmine Corp are looking to do, or just meet them face up in aggression themselves. Having the job and pathing like this gives them some way to, again, have some more aggressive options by being unpredictable. They've not been seen on Vision yet. They're taking away camps. Nicolex is slightly off the radar now from Karmine Corp. If you want to match Vision, as Vasilis was potentially talking about, that's the way you do it. Because the red buff hasn't gone down, 113 knows something is afoot and will return the favor. He's now invading in onto the red buff, knowing that it's not gone down. He got a full clear on his side, so the question is whether he'll stick around for more in the side of Team Phantasma's jungle or not. But this does mean that Backo is once again on weak side, a role which he's found himself in more this split than he has done in previous ones. You know, as the Jax ban was against him, very much played a lot of his own carry champions, but he's picking up waves. He's not getting dove. He's making sure that he's still kind of, again, getting to that point where he can outlast the Graves in that side. Then when you pick up a Warden's Mail, when you pick up his armor boots, and all the rest of it. But it is very much top side losing resources for Phantasma.
Indeed. Whether or not that comes back to bite them will be another matter, of course. Malphite pretty good at being a low economy top laner. That R button is pretty damn useful, whatever it may come as a Malphite player, of course. You've got to make sure you hit the R, but otherwise you're pretty happy as long as you can get to press it, however much gold you manage to get in lane, etc. But we're going to look for mid lane play instead.
Off Vision, not going to be seen here. And you know that you want to be hanging topside of Sake, and you know that.
Charm.
But now the Charm can't block out an EQ. We'll see what happens, actually, if Nicolex wanted to gank before that was back up. But it's like Nicolex is going to be covering the dive top instead, because that is burgeoning currently.
Richard going to come out and try and just proxy this one, prevent the easy reset from Backo. He's taken down to about 15% HP. Saken up here as well. Nicolex around flash. Lands the wind, become lightning. Flash for the auto will secure the kill for Cabbage. And now Nicolex in that 1v3 will at least get one back. And now what can Pepe do is he will go right back into the waiting arms of Saken. The boss out for screen is Nicolex and 113. Continue to duel out of the tower. Flash away. 113, remember, already burned the flash and now takes another tower shot. maybe we'll think about another flag and drag. Right now it's a 2-for-1 because, of course, Seiken secured the mid laner as well.
So looking to cover those dives, it's not been fully covered. You still end up losing your Malphite outside of that turret, loses a lot of that wave, and though Graves dies, Malphite has lost more resources for this. And that's not to even say the fact that he traded down and kills on the side of Phantasma as well. Karmine Corp very obviously playing towards that top side, but we were talking about them needing to address their own issues in the early game. So far, this is a good start.
Indeed it is, and you can see Pepe tries to get in here, realizes he's in trouble, goes back, and Seiken's just there waiting. Not much you can do at that point.
Oh, eats a heavy trade from the Ahri, and then has to pop back because hang on, wait. Jinzhou has really high damage.
No,
Bako's going to figure it out again.
Bako again about to die, and he's going to be walking back to lane.
And though Bako has definitely leveled up as a weak side player, throughout this split, absolutely not weak, coming in as the first from this GLR, but coming in as a player that's had to change their style. They've had to do a lot of learning with that suit, and you can see not really on the same rhythm of the game now, and is going to have to really be behind the curve at this point to find value later in the game.
Throwback the pre-show as well, where we had some Karmine Corp stats, some before and after, where in the before we saw the play-ins where they were absolutely dominating early game and going on from there, and then kind of the after where they got a bit rolled by Karmine Corp in the early game. We said, well, maybe there's a weakness there. Right now, Karmine Corp absolutely stomping this early game, up about 2,000 gold, 5.5 minutes in, but TP might be looking to punish this one. Phantasma trying to get on 1-1-3, the flashing ain't gonna get this one, surely! The knockup is there for the turnaround, the smite onto the Raptors, making a 1-for-1 now. Seiken, so high HP, he could just run down the rest of Phantasma. Nicolex, the next to fall, surely. It will be a 3-for-1 in favor of Karmine Corp.
And they try and go for the aggressive play, they understand that this is a one-way trip. 1-1-3 uses that Audacious Charge to get right out to those Raptors, gets out of the initial engage, and when the first kill doesn't go down easily, the Smite even buying more HP, then Phantasma are always going to be on the losing end of this. In Hantera, even on the Nautilus, getting to the point where he's landing a lot of AoE for support. Remember, this is all base damages. You don't have a lot of big items with Nautilus doing actually quite a significant amount. Not actually that much, which Phantasma can do in terms of the increased the DPS check over time. You've got a first strike job and not even that lethal tempo. Karmine Corp, they win the DPS check and roll out with a couple of kills.
And you can see the flash distort in from the LeBlancas. Never mind talk about that previous play, because top side, Seiken ulting and trying to get a hold of Bako, who doesn't have the ultimate. Won't be able to secure the kill, but he'll be back out of lane. Third time so far. We've seen him die twice. Now he's going to have to reset again. 1-1-3's on the bot side. They're making plays on both sides of the map at the same damn time.
And, with the hook landing, looking a bit dangerous.
So little to do right now. Sanity gets out with a sliver of HP. Gets away with it just about.
Yeah, no ignite for this particular engagement. Santa's going to get out with their life, but Phantasma are yet to find themselves a real win in this game so far. It's only 7.5 minutes in. They're down a massive amount of gold. We talked about how good Karmine Corp were in their play-in stage, playing against those play-in teams. They were getting huge gold leads, but they couldn't find that in their first group stage match. But in this one, looks like a bit more of a return to that first stage of that tournament. They are very comfortably in the lead. You're really starting to wonder what Phantasma can do to get themselves back into a game at this point. They don't even have their ultimates to play around. Bako doesn't have his on the top side.
And what a glove from 1-1-3. This is a player that faced some criticism, had a rough time, particularly in the LFL playoffs. Didn't make as much of an impact as he would have liked. And then to come in with a game like this after kind of been manhandled a little bit yesterday by Haru, of course, world champion. There's not a huge amount to say, like, oh, that's a fantastic player. It happens occasionally. And now with the charm landing of mid lane as well, it's good to see this young player from Karmine Corp coming out and doing this well in the early game alongside Seiken, at least early on, but maybe gone a little bit too deep. The moment I praise him, he's in a 1v2. Maybe not a 1v3 if Nicolex comes over, but Karmine Corp now coming in force. Well, flash over the wall from Nicolex. Could look for more. Misses out, though. There's the Cataclysm. But there's still a Crescent Guard up, and on the other side, so much damage coming through. It's a 1-for-none right now. They'll charm up Pepe on the other. He dies as well. 2-for-none Karmine Corp plus the Herald.
And Karmine Corp, they understand they're in the lead. They can take the fights that they want as long as they're not too egregious. And this one is in that list of ones they're very happy to put to bed. And you're sat here now, even more in the lead. You cut yourselves a Herald to make another big power play. You don't even have all of the plates down on the map at this point. And though Jinzhou has been nerfed a fair amount, he doesn't really care for it at this point. Still got himself that early game power spike, and that ultimate does so much damage. First, not able to dive in and do the damage that needs to happen. And while all this is happening, right, pulling out Pepe caught out yet again by Seiken, getting the better end of this matchup. It's the Ori versus LeBlanc.
Does just amazing
Hey Sam,
stuff.
that's 8 stacks and Dark Seal there.
Okay,
Look, I'm actually interested in. Can I interest you in a library pass to the library of Magi's?
but look, I am all for encouraging people to read, and I am down with that. But I'm aware that, generally speaking, we are here to commentate, not to be literary salesmen. And I say that as someone with an English degree, so I feel like I may have at least some grounding to
either way. I mean,
complain.
At this point, Karmine Corp is snowballing so hard.
Oh,
It doesn't
days.
actually matter what they're spending their gold on. Almost at this point, they're winning in every single lane.
Avert thine eyes.
Up in CS in every lane, and it felt like Phantasma. They went for this early gambit. They tried to find themselves a way to play around top side to break the momentum of what Karmine Corp were doing towards their Malphite. It's not worked. Now Karmine Corp, they have the run of the map and where they want to play around.
Reminded that before yesterday, Karmine Corp were up 57 odd CS in the early game. They're certainly looking to replicate that here early. They are up about 5,000 gold right now. They'll summon down the Herald. There's still plates to come. That'll all go into Reckless, waiting and willing hands, and they're going to get first turret off it as well. And that gold lead explodes even further. It is 10 minutes in, and it's already an absolute mountain for Team Phantasma to climb.
And actually, with Flash and Ultimate on the Nautilus, there's even a chance of a dive here at this point. Hunter are going to be tanking up the tower for reasons. But either way, the Herald's going to charge in, and Karmine Corp look like they're happy to fight.
Certainly think about it, it's a decent route onto 1-1-3. Pepe coming over, can't quite get enough damage. They get the ignite. There's the heal from Reckless, who's also jumped out pretty low. And Nicolex thinking about going in, but that's a well-timed Feather Storm. Don't even need to pull the feathers back, and they get another kill.
We were talking about coordination for this team of Phantasma, wanting to really get onto the targets they want to do together, but not overlapped. It is just Nicolex at that point. Goes far too deep, gets the Xayah ultimate, but that's literally just it, and it's at the cost of their life. Now, that's another kill against this deficit again, which they really start breaking down at some point. It is looking so unlikely for them to come back, and you're really waiting for Karmine Corp to overstep into multiple ultimates. That's the only way I can see Phantasma winning fights at this point.
You've got to find the mother of all unstoppable forces into Cataclysm, into quickness, where Vendetta has 2 items and can hit fantastic, massive ultimate and get Chakram swirling everywhere. Like, you could hear the list of things that need to happen, plus Karmine Corp misplaying, plus so many other things, a little bit of luck, a miracle, some divine intervention, etc., as Vendetta is about to
purgatory.
Yeah, might be looking to put his own Vendetta against Karmine Corp as he's going to get hooked up and run down. Reckless gets his first kill of the game. Now he's 1-0-1 on the top side. Cabochard getting engaged off of flashes. Unstoppable Force, Nicolex is there. Might finally be a kill there first in what feels like 10 minutes. A Cataclysm required to shut down the Graves.
Oh, 3 members, 3 ultimates for 1 kill. It is something. Again, it is trading so far into inefficient numbers that you really can't stop and be happy about it as Phantasma still. And Karmine Corp again, we were wondering if they were going to turn up in the early game. They absolutely have done at that point. And this is a team again, to zoom it back out, coming from the LFL, one of these regions, which is so feared, back-to-back champions, have all of this stuff, and this is a good game for them to at least kind of have that confidence booster to say, okay, you know, we still have what it takes to pull out these crazy dominant games.
There is a flash on Reckless, but no ultimate, so does have to burn it. He's maybe overstepped it. You can see at the top of your screen, Pepe, think you're coming down, throws down a ward as Nicolex. They're going to get a knock up onto Reckless, who's getting under his own tower, and now he can start turning it around. They've gone too deep, and Nicolex dies for full time this game.
And one of the reasons we see Lethality Xayah over Crit Xayah is just that it spikes earlier. Vendetta is also departing us from Summoner's Rift. See you at the next respawn.
I'd like to write some more, but 180 carry dies trying to outplay, and the other side...
You know, I like writing as well, particularly my book of Magi's. I'm a big fan of that.
It's not been built.
No,
not yet.
No.
But it could be. It could just be a ring. Maybe they would rather put a ring on it.
Well, I think they're pretty happy to see... Oh, okay, actually, that's a really weird interaction. Pepe actually able to flip back to, even though it's the first few frames of being caught. Actually, 1-3 getting caught.
He's going to take a bit of damage here. They have put the Crest Guard now. They're trying to turn it around. Seiken comes over the wall with the ultimate Spirit rushing away. Still got one more charge. Flash for the 3 talent strike. Knock up, and that gives a reset for Seiken. They get the kill, and they'll get on out. They're just too far ahead at this point.
Too far ahead, and it is, again, hard-ass to come back even before this for Phantasma. It's just getting worse for them at this point. Now the question is, how cleanly can Karmine Corp close? Because it is 14 minutes now. Plates have gone down. You're going to have a lot of ability now for Karmine Corp. I mean, or rather, like, you have a lot of ability to fight, but Karmine Corp are buying the book.
They bought the book, and Nightmare is very smug right now.
They did it. Okay, library pass has been granted. To taken, but and this is actually kind of filling into the point which I half made before in terms of, look, it's 14 minutes. Plates are down. You don't have another Herald at this point, or you can start fighting for that in a minute, but there's no Baron. You're not able to, like, cleanly close the game around a Soul or a Baron, which is what the meta has come to at some point. So you're gonna have to find a way to snowball in another direction. Having stuff like this extra bump in power with the extra mythic stat coming in from a very cheap legendary item from mythic can help towards that.
Herald number 2 is spawned, and Team Phantasma are trying to surmount a mountain taller than Mount Everest right now, because it's 11,000 gold they're behind. Since 14 minutes into the game, they're going to lose a second Herald, and I am hoping they brought oxygen tanks and climbing equipment, because they have got a sheer cliff face of a game of a gold lead to try and surmount right now.
I'm hoping they brought a diamond worth 300 gold and a 3rd level spell slot, because it feels like
to resurrect. Yeah. Oh no, that's horrifying to look at.
Revivify themselves in this game, and even if it were a diamond worth that amount, it wouldn't even get close to the level deficit.
It's
in this game.
Like
There's
double
another Herald coming in through the mid lane. This is again one of the power plays they can look for. They have ultimates up. You are really looking to do whatever you can here as Phantasma to catch this finally grouped team of Karmine Corp, but it is so hard to do so. Vendetta is on a 3rd HP.
I mean, Team Phantasma living up to their namesake, it feels right now, because they're feeling ephemeral, like they've got no grasp at all. Anything they can do is Bako about to get Death Charge, will try and time this one up. Flash has to be popped as well. They'll lose a tier 2 here, and this is a statement from Karmine Corp.
Okay, and this is what I wanted to see from Karmine Corp. Yes, you're ahead. How do you close out efficiently? What are the mechanisms you're using? And they're finding so much damage, even on these inhibitor turrets. It's 16 minutes in.
It's 16 minutes in, and Karmine Corp are angry. They lost yesterday to X7, and it was unceremonious. Well, they've decided to show people how it's done. I have not seen a domination this large in a very long time. Nicolex run off from his inhibitor turrets. It's not even 17 minutes into the game. Over the wall comes Saken. They're getting it onto Vendetta, who at least has Severum and Crescendo, but taking so much damage in turn. Will use the Moonlight Vigil and Severum to heal back up at least somewhat, but they'll lose the inhibitor.
Lose the inhibitor, they'll probably lose the second one. I mean, at this point, you're thinking, okay, at least the ultimates are down. I don't know if they're going to end without all of their ults, but it's about as good as you can get here from Karmine Corp, because the SS Team Phantasma, this ship it's sinking. It's at the point where
it's cracked in half. It's not sinking. This is Titanic mode.
You've got a violin playing on the bow. That's everyone recalling.
This could be it. The moment. There's a and it matters not at all. Blinking, you miss it. The Cataclysm is just a shooting gallery for Nicolex and Pepe to die.
It means absolutely nothing.
They can end. There's 2 members dead. They can just keep going.
It's one man. It's a dream. It's a Cataclysm, and it means absolutely nothing. And again, Nicolex has tried to dive so often as the backline, but yeah, you can see the problem when the weight of the gold is
crushing,
quite crushing at this point.
The dragon has awoken. It turns out they were here for a layer of gold, courtesy of Team Phantasma being shaken down in this game. It looks beautiful. If you're not 11, 12,000 gold behind.
This is you're not trapped in here with me. I'm trapped in. No, I'm trapped in here with you. I'm very much trapped in here with you. Please stop. And this is the point again where that's your 5-man just kind of like, we're gonna point a target on our backs and see what happens. But there wasn't a Malphite there. There was no Moonlight Vigil over the top of it. It was very far from maybe being the perfect scenario.
Oh, they've been building a giant blue wall in this game, and I can imagine what various Twitch chats are looking like right now. Hugely dominant game from Karmine Corp. Hugely impressive stuff, and what a recovery from yesterday.
I mean, it feels like in this game, Phantasma are less of the wall, more of the colossal titan. And kicking through the gatehouse of Phantasma's bot inhibitor, the last remaining one. 113 has picked up an elixir, 2 items on top of it. Karmine Corp ready to stomp through the base.
No more mistakes. It's a decent engagement. Only really lands onto one. They get to the backside. Reckless pulls the feather straight back through. It's 2 dead already. Pepe about to fall as well, but he manages to get back. At least only the Clover falls. Still a double for Reckless. In comes the Death Charge onto Vayne. Death to the Charm goes wide, but that'll be a thumbs up. And a dead Aphelios. Another team wide. 90 minutes on the clock. And it will be a sub 20-minute victory for Karmine Corp. The defending champions wake up on Raw.
Every championship we have of this, every tournament, there's always a couple of games which get a little stompy. Won't always happen in the reverse matchup at Karmine Corp being the first team to really stomp to this degree.